It's like boop boop beep boop 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 boop. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode. What?
I like the beep boop entry. It's new, but it's fresh.
Well, I was
It's
gonna
fresh,
cut it,
it's new.
but now I have to keep the beep boop in.
I know, I said that because I was hoping I'd make you keep it.
Now it has to say it. Hello everyone, and welcome to Jackass. Welcome to the show. It's our 4th episode. Today we're going to be talking about what we've watched and listened to recently, and then we'll end with talking about the last season and the last episode of Barry, which we'll give you ample warning about before we do that, so then you can skedaddle out of here if you have not seen it. But before we do that, I would just like to welcome my friends, Corinne and Gabe. How are y'all doing today?
Good. How are you doing, Gabe?
Well, I lost power in the middle of a dog's birthday party, so I'm living a Ted Lasso episode.
Okay, that does
Absolutely.
sound like a Ted Lasso episode.
Yeah. Was there an inspirational speech with the inspirational music?
There was a dog cake. Does that count?
Yes.
I think if you were
so.
gonna be singing happy birthday to the dog and then the power went out mid singing happy birthday to the dog, I think that would count as an inspirational speech with inspirational music that then became a problem, and that would be very Ted Lasso.
It's how to manage a power outage while also preparing for a dog's birthday party. I'm like, oh God, I'm living a sitcom.
What? Or if it turned out darker, it could have been a murder mystery because the power goes out in the middle of the birthday, and then there's a scream, and then you're like, someone's dead, and you're like,
nobody's leaving until we figure this out.
no dog is leaving until we figure out which one of you puppers did it.
Murder mystery dog edition coming this fall.
The twist is it was the cat.
Oh, that's yeah.
I feel like that's not a super twist though. It's a twist.
The
because
twist
you thought
was
it would be a dog.
the twist was we thought it was the cat. We thought the twist of it was that it was the cat, but it was actually the Chihuahua.
Yes,
That
yeah.
seems fair.
The Chihuahua's framing the cat.
See, that would work.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, so I'm here, and that's good. And we have internet, which we stayed at my parents', so we're like, we'll come back. Maybe it'll be here, and then it was. So, yay!
Yay!
Yay.
Yay for fixing your power.
Mhm.
All right, so Corinne, what have you experienced lately in terms of media?
What have I experienced? What have I been doing? I mean, I watched Barry, so we'll
So-
talk about that later.
Yes.
I watched Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I know, way behind the curve.
That is a very silly movie.
It is very silly. I enjoyed it. It is not a good movie, but it's
Yes.
a fun movie.
Oh, it's totally Fast and Furious core right there.
Yeah, exactly. As we were talking about last week, it's not good, but it's fun. And it really played up in the first movie, it was 2 separate movies were happening. One was a sci-fi horror and one was a rom-com between Eddie Brock and Venom.
Mhm.
And that's why I loved that movie, because it was at odds with itself. It just seemed oh, what's his name? Main character, Eddie Brock, actor.
Tom
I
Hardy.
was about to say
Tom
Topher
Hardy.
Grace, but it's Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy. It was as if Tom Hardy just had a different script than the entire rest of the movie. And I loved that about it because it was just ridiculous. And then the second movie, it really leaned into, this is a romantic comedy about a man and his symbiote, because
I loved that part.
yeah, they literally break up in the beginning.
The part where they're making food together, I want a full film about that.
Yeah. But when they have their loud breakup and things are getting thrown out the window, and the guy down on the street thinks it's just a couple having a fight, and I was just they just really leaned into it, didn't they? And those again were the parts of the movie I enjoyed. I'm the other story, it was okay. It had some problems, but I just like watching Eddie Brock and his symbiote be a romantic couple. Yeah. So that's the other thing, way behind the curve, that I imbibed. And then I played more Darkest Dungeon 2 because that's going to be the thing I'm playing for a long time. And I party wiped against a final boss. That was fun. You get an achievement for that when you do that. Heads up when you have party wiped with the final boss.
Don't you love the you suck achievements?
Yeah, the sucks to be you achievement. And then I was playing more. What's it called? My favorite game. This War of Mine, which if you've never played it, fantastic game. I love this War of Mine. It's so good. It's
What's
not
it
new by
for?
any means. It's on PC. I think it might also be on Switch. I'm not certain. It could be on other consoles, but I know it's on PC. It is a game by like an indie studio, like a European studio. I think specifically maybe even a Ukrainian studio. I'm not 100% certain. But it is about civilians during war. And how, like, the actual story taking place is that there's a civil war in the country that these people live in, and they weren't able to evacuate for whatever reason. Either they chose to stay behind, they couldn't evacuate, there was, some reason they couldn't leave, and now they're here, and they're trying to survive the civil war. And the gameplay time is between, 30 days and, 45 days, I think. Like, that's how long the time span is. And you start off in just a broken down old house of various means, like it's been destroyed by bombing, and you have to resource manage your way to making this a livable place to live, going out at night and scavenging, and people will come to your house either asking for help or trying to help you depending on what scenario you're in. And you'll get new survivors that come and join, and it's just a really cool resource management game.
I was going to ask you what kind of game it actually
is. It's resource management, and also exploration survival, because you go out at night to scavenge for goods, but you can encounter any sort of dangerous things along the way, and morality plays a big part in it, because there's various scenarios where you can just choose to kill a completely innocent civilian to take their shit. You can just do that. However, depending on what characters you're playing, some of them are not cool with that. Some of them are, but different characters have different morality, which if you have a group of 3 survivors, 2 of them might be well, we need the food more. And one will be what the fuck did you do? I'm leaving. You just killed an old couple and stole everything they worked for. That's not cool. You're just as bad as the military, It's really great. It's really sad, but also really, it feels really good when you win, when you make it to the end of the war. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games. Anytime I'm I need to play something that I can't play on the big computer, which I'm using right now, and I only have my laptop. This War of Mine, it's between that and Slay the Spire, another great low PC needs game. Because, I only have access to our big computer sometimes. So when I don't have access to our big computer, it's what are the games I can play easily on my laptop? And the 4 of mine, Slay the Spire, they are not big energy drains. They run just great on a laptop. Yeah, so I recommend it if you've never played it. It's a fantastic game. Sad, touching. You can be a shitty person. You can be a great person. Sometimes you have to be a shitty person, otherwise you die. Sometimes you get to be, once you get good at the game, you don't have to be a shitty person. Once you get good at it. I'm at the point, I never have to be a shitty person unless I'm choosing to, but.
I have a problem with doing that in video games. When I'm given the option, I'm always a monster.
Yeah, see, you would want to play, there's this one character, there's these 2 characters, Roman and... I can't remember her name. I think it starts with an A. There's 2 characters that have the lowest morality. They're no, fuck that shit. I'll kill and I'll steal.
Yep. That's
so you just want to play Roman and what's her name? Roman's skill is that he is better. He's harder to kill. He has a bigger health bar or something, or when he shoots people, it does more damage or something like that, because he used to be a soldier and then he deserted. And then the woman whose name starts with an A, she is just like a thief. And so her skill is sneaking. She can sneak completely silently. So combining those 2 together, you can just decimate the army base, which is
That's
I've
what I
done
would
it
do.
once. It's a lot of fun because the army is like most of the time fucking douches in the game. Like they're awful. Like they're awful to the civilians. They're terrible. There's a reason there's a civil war going on. Mainly the army. And so like you can like take those two and go wipe out the army base and then have all the weapons you could ever need. And it's like it is a power rush. I'll give you that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
RPG
I've heard
games,
so
I
many
love
good
that.
things about it. I've heard so many good things about that game. I just need to actually play it.
Yeah, I recommend highly. Like it's not a new game. I don't play a lot of super new games because I'm cheap and like weird indie games. So like once I find one that I like, I'm like, I'm just playing this forever, I guess. But yeah, the Swarm Mine, highly recommended. It's pretty affordable and it has a lot of content. They even added stories, which are like specific stories that like you play out the beats of. Like, you know, you make your own choices and stuff, but like it's stories set in universe instead of just like kind of choose your own adventure, which is like what the main game kind of is. It's like these specific stories where specific things are happening and you're trying to meet these specific goals, but you can also not, you can fail, you can, you know, choose to do other things. But yeah, it's a good game, very well made. And they went on to make like Frostpunk and things like that.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. They worked on and or made Frostpunk, which I enjoy Frostpunk, but I'm shit at it. Like it's really, really hard. And I used to think this War of Mine was hard, so maybe I just need to play it more. But it's a lot more demoralizing when I lose Frostpunk than when I lose this War of Mine. Personally,
is this War of Mine one player?
Yeah, this War of Mine is one player. They never introduced like a multiplayer option. It is, you know, just a single solo experience. It's definitely a one more turn kind of game.
Oh God, yeah.
I get sucked into those so bad. It's like because the game is played via days, so like each day it saves at the beginning of the day, and then you know until you get to the next day it doesn't save again. So you can't like save scum. The most you can save scum is restart a day. If like you accidentally do something and you're like, oh shit, I accidentally attacked that priest. I didn't mean to do that. I clicked the wrong button, which I had happen to me recently. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit this priest with a shovel. My cat on my keyboard. I guess I'm restarting the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I hit a priest with a shovel because Chowder was walking across my keyboard.
My cat accidentally made me commit genocide in Mass Effect once. So, you know, I get it.
Yeah, I was like, well, restarting this day, that was not a choice.
The cat really was evil.
Yeah, Chowder was evil. Chowder wanted me to hit a priest with a shovel, which, depending on the priest, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say encouraged in certain circumstances.
Yeah, in certain circumstances, hitting a priest with a shovel maybe not a bad idea, but in a lot of circumstances, not a good idea.
It's like the Deadpool argument. Most of the time, we don't do that.
Yeah, the Riley and Friends podcast does not endorse hitting priests with shovels.
We do not. No.
Unless you're in a very specific circumstance.
Yes.
I think you would know too.
Yeah, we trust your judgment on when you'll hit a priest with a shovel.
And canceled.
But yeah, so that's basically been my week. I watched Barry. I played more Darkest Dungeon. I played this War of Mine. And I was just doing a lot of planning stuff. Might I plug something?
Yeah, you can plug something. Absolutely.
So next week, June 10th, I am one of the organizers for a Pride charity stream for the Grand Rapids Trans Foundation, which provides scholarships and various other support for like trans and non-binary teens in the area. And I would love to see people there to watch. There's a ton of great raffle prizes. That's been my job. I am collecting sponsors like I am getting gym badges in Pokemon. Some items you can win is like some great Pride apparel. You can get some amazing glassware from MC Etching. You can get... what else? I've done so many things. I'm forgetting now. Oh, you can get some tea from this great place called Friday Afternoon Tea. And I have some other ones that I was currently working on today that I can't say yet because they're not confirmed. But yeah, so like there's a lot of really cool stuff you can win for donating. And that's kind of been like my fifth job this week, because I have like 3 jobs at my current job, and then I have my podcast, and then I have this Pride charity stream where I'm the sponsor getter. So yeah, my 5th job. That's been my 5th job this week. So yeah, it'd be really great to see people there. I can provide a link to you later, Riley.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be June 10th, starting I think at 10 a.m., going 24 hours until June 11th at 10 a.m. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Some things that we're doing include weird soda beer pong, as in we're playing beer pong without beer, and instead it's weird sodas.
Amazing.
And we are going to have Jeopardy, and I don't know if you're familiar with Make Some Noise from Dropout or College Humor. Basically, it's an improv game about making sound effects and sounds. We're gonna have we always have like Pride history at the very beginning, and then we have just I don't know, just like a lot of fun stuff. I'll be on the midnight the Gremlin crew, which is the late night crew. I'm gonna get about 3 hours of sleep because I need to do stuff during the day too. But I'm sleeping during Jeopardy, so I won't be there for Jeopardy.
So how do we get involved? Just tune in and donate and such?
Yeah, tune in, donate, be there to watch. If you donate, you're going to be entered in for great raffle prizes. And you'll be able to affect the things that we're doing. So like there's donation incentives that are not just the raffle items. So like, for instance, if it's Jeopardy, you can donate to like change people's scores around and like make people pick certain things, or like take points away from someone.
Troll donations, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's going to be troll donations where your donations can affect the things we're doing and make them more ridiculous. So yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And we're hoping to, I'm really hoping that we're going to break past our $1,000 goal. Because last year we skipped the event because it's usually yearly, because the main organizer, he was getting married. So like he didn't have time to plan this. So we're trying to go really big this year. Yeah. Weddings are kind of a whole planning
thing.
It's a to-do.
It's a to-do, yeah. And so we're trying to go really big this year. So fingers crossed, hope to see you there.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's my 5th job this week. Between the 3 jobs I have, my real job, running my podcast, and then
So you're saying you need 6 more jobs?
Yes, I need to wear 6 more hats. If anyone has recommendations, clearly I need more jobs.
Make a giant tower of hats that collapses.
Yes.
1 job for each day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'll just rotate them, because that's how jobs work. No one will get upset, especially not my real job. Corinne, you have done literally nothing for 5 days. Well, it wasn't your day.
You're Tuesdays, and you know it.
Yeah, you're Tuesdays. What are you talking about, Corinne? Okay.
So Gabe, what have you done, listened to, watched?
What have you done lately?
What have you done lately?
What crimes have you committed, Gabe? Have you hit any trees with shovels?
Too many to speak of. The only crimes I've committed have been video game related, and I did create a giant fly swatter and hit a boss off a ledge, so that was fun.
I'm guessing you're referring to Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those where Corinne and I would be like, what are you doing this week? The same thing that you asked me last week, but more of it.
Because we're still obsessed with the same things, because, you know, personally I have ADD, so like I hyperfixate on specific things, and then I won't touch that thing for another, 6 months, but I'm still in
the same language.
Yeah, I'm still in fixation phase.
I mean, to be fair, I only just finished Dead Island 2, so...
You have an update, though. That's the thing, though. That's the difference.
I mean,
you finished the thing.
There isn't really much to update. It's, like, my same opinion that I've had throughout, like, the entire game. It's solidly enjoyable. It's a solid, enjoyable gameplay loop of killing and murdering zombies with a pretty solid progression system and crafting system. It's just that the writing and the story is really terrible,
Right.
and it's like I don't want to go back to it now that I've beaten it. But I'm glad to have played it because
that whole team is
because
not a revisit kind of.
It's a fun ride, but not a ride you're going on again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was fun while it lasted. I'm kind of glad that I'm going forward with my Jedi Survivor playthrough now.
Yeah.
Which I have encountered some bugs finally.
Oh.
So there was this one guy that that my character was talking to at at the main bar on the hub planet. It's basically
quick question. Was it a jizz bar?
It could be a jizz bar.
Is that like a thing I'm not aware of? Or
So
God.
So they know the jazz music in Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace.
Yeah, like the
In canon, it's called jizz music.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Sorry, not in Jabba's palace, but I guess you could qualify.
It's also like in a bar or a party
in the cantina.
In the cantina, yeah, it's in the cantina.
For Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's in our brains we call it jazz music, but in canon it is jizz music.
It is jizz music.
Awesome.
That is the canonical name of that music is jizz music. So you can go to a jizz bar instead of a jazz bar.
Oh God! For watchers only, watch a cat's head disappear.
Oh no!
Oh no! You killed your cat. That's even worse than hitting a priest with a shovel.
That's much worse than hitting a priest with a shovel. Jake, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. You become too problematic.
So one of the side quests in Jedi Survivor, it's not even much of a side quest. It's just like, well, there's some DJ robot and their friend that went somewhere to record animal noises to sample from. So you just go find them and be like, hey, do you want to work at this bar? And they're like, sure. Quest over.
That's a very random quest.
Well, now I can have music play at the bar that I live at.
That's
so
like
you
the
live at a bar.
Borderlands. Yeah, the Borderlands quests.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Quick, shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the face. Do it.
I forgot about that.
So now there is jizz music at my rundown bar.
Perfect. So now you have jizz bar.
So now we have jizz bar. But anyway, the glitch before we got sidetracked.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just had to ask.
There was clarification needed for the jizz music.
Yes.
So this one guy was talking to me, and he had a drink that was sitting next to him, but when he turned to me, the drink floated, and then it turned sideways and started going like all around him while he was talking.
So that's just the Force. That's not a bug.
Yeah. I'm like, are you secretly a Jedi too? I know that there's a lot of secret Jedis in this timeline during this universe, like because the Empire is like, for all they're saying about how the Jedi are dead, there are a lot of secret Jedi that live during this time.
Yeah.
Are you one of them?
Yeah, that's how he's making the drink go. Woo! This was his subtle way of telling you.
I'm like, I can't listen to your conversation when the drink is going up and down your back, down your butt.
Yeah. How is it going? Would you like to complete this quest today? Oh, sure.
And I'm like, what did you say?
Reminds me of Cyberpunk. I had a very few glitches, but the one that always happened and made me laugh every time, when you call your car, it's supposed to come straight to you. My car was run by a drunken 16-year-old. It would just kind of go, fly and do donuts and run people over on the way to get me, and I'd be wanted and be like...
My favorite glitch of that in Cyberpunk was, so I'd call my car, I'd be waiting, like, where the hell is my car? And I look at the map. I'm like, okay, my car is over here for some reason. And then I get closer and I hear a crashing noise, like over and over crashing noise. Yeah. I see my car is just crashing into a wall. The door is falling off. The glass is gone, and it's like, well, my car is basically dead now. But I still drove it because it's funny.
Yep.
It was trying to get to you via the most direct path, which was through a building.
Yes.
I loved that though, because the cars would just do things. Like I would get wanted and be like, I want a picture talking to the cops. My car ran over that person who wasn't even there.
Another thing, my car, like another glitch involving the car, like I think I failed a mission, and before the mission, you get to choose whether you want to drive or ride in the passenger seat. So I chose in the first time to ride in the passenger seat. So okay, it's normal riding the passenger seat, but then I lose. And it's a long speech that the character gives, like the character next to you that's driving gives you, like they're talking, and then you get out and you do the mission, but then I died. So then I respawn, but I respawn in the driver's seat. But the character that I was talking to the first time was also in the driver's seat. So I am inside the character. I'm on the driver's seat inside the character who was also in the driver's seat, and it's like first person.
That's amazing.
What the fuck is happening?
I love it.
Glitches and going back to Star Wars. I don't know if any of you ever played KOTOR 2.
A little bit.
I played KOTOR 1. I started KOTOR 2, but camera, stop it. Stop it. Focus on me. I've played KOTOR 2, but I didn't play it as extensively as I did KOTOR 1, which I did complete.
So I would have completed KOTOR 2, but I had the game-breaking glitch that can happen where you get to like the very end of the game, and you're supposed to go to this planet, and then you're like approached by like 3 Sith ladies, and you're supposed to fight them, but instead you go to the planet, and it's just completely empty. And like I didn't know this was a glitch, so I was just wandering around like, is something supposed to happen? What am I doing here? What is going on? And I'm just like wandering around for like an hour. Like, is something supposed to trigger? And I'm just like, and it's like based on a decision that you make like 3 hours prior in the game. Like if you made that decision, this glitch could happen. So like the only way you could fix it would be to go back to a save prior to that one decision you made. And I'm like, I'm never beating this game. Yeah, and I just, to this day, I think of that, just that completely empty planet. I'm just wandering around like, so...
How's it going?
What's up?
Well, but maybe it was a symbolic ending, like your character died and that was the afterlife.
Yes.
That was what's
Purgatory?
That was Purgatory.
You got lost.
I just ended up in Purgatory. My ship exploded or something.
Yep. Your character chose the lost ending.
Yeah.
Your character was dead the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then. Yeah. So I got the lost ending.
Yeah. Aside from that, I think I've been listening to a lot of music because Friday was like, Riley, like music mecca day.
There was quite a bit of music that day. There was Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the new Pupil Slicer, which is not a fun image to have, but
I hate it.
But they're really good mixture of hardcore and like extreme metal that I really like. They're like in that new core kind of genre that I like a lot, and their new album was really good. I've heard surprisingly good things about the new Avenged Sevenfold record.
I was going to talk to you about this. I've listened to it. It's a really big swing. Like they went for the straight up like the bat the size of the planet kind of swing for this one.
Yeah.
And it's either going to hit for you or you're going to hate it.
Like I've heard that like the singles are the worst songs on the album.
I agree. I heard the album and I agree.
And I've heard some people, it's also like, yeah, there's actually some merit and quality here. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give it a listen, because I was like, I don't want to make myself listen to a bad album. Like a bad album's like one of the worst kind of bad art forms you can experience. Because like with a lot of like with a bad movie, you can still find some enjoyments in it. With a bad game, you can laugh at it. But with like a bad music, it's like it hurts my soul.
Right. I honestly recommend it because it's one of those things where if you don't like Avenged Sevenfold, this might actually be the one for you. Because it's kind of like they tried to combine like Frank Zappa and horns and strings and Avenged Sevenfold together, and they really went for it.
Like
Oh, I was gonna say, I think my manager actually went to a special like release party event for this album that was in Vegas, where it was like an
Sounds about right.
experience,
Mm.
where they had like these cool like videos or like lights and all this stuff. And I think he really enjoyed it, but like as he was listening to just the record without it, he was like, it was a lot better at the experience with all the extra shit going
Oh,
on.
of course.
Like I
Oh,
still
for sure.
enjoyed it, but like with all the extra shit, it really hit. So I feel like this is very much like a concept album or like an
Uh-huh.
experience album.
Yeah.
That
That's
they
why the
did.
singles don't hit, is because
Yeah.
A, they're the weakest tracks, but B, they also feel like you've taken the butt plug scene from Everything Everywhere All at Once completely out of the movie, and you're looking at it like, the hell? You gotta start from the top, or this is just weird.
They should put that as a box quote. The new Avenged Sevenfold is like the butt plug without the context.
I need to listen to it again, because I actually kind of liked it, but I made the mistake of listening to the Foo Fighters album first, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
And then it
new
was
Foo
like,
Fighters album is
weird ass shit here. Okay.
Yeah, maybe listen to it like in like just by itself, like because
Yeah.
I feel like comparing it to anything else is going to be weird.
It's kind of, I think it seemed like it almost made that way. Like they wanted it to be by far the weirdest thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
And you know, I kind of
a
respect
choice was
that.
made. A choice
I actually
was
like
made.
it.
I
Yeah.
respect that on a conceptual level. So I just have to see if I like it on an actual execution level.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'll say that much. It's worth checking out.
Okay.
I would say personally, making a big swing and doing something interesting, even if it sucks, at least you did something interesting.
Always agree with that. Always
Yeah,
agree
like
with that.
even if it's a swing and a miss, at least you tried something new. So I'll always give the benefit of the doubt to something that they were clearly trying something. They were making a choice instead of just being like, well, here's the same album we've done 10 times, you know,
And they
like
didn't have
and that's a
too.
problem in metal.
Yeah.
That's a problem in metal. And I love metal. I love like what metal is, but it's also there's a lot of bands that like really play it safe and don't venture outside the outside of the sound that they've already established. And then on the one hand, I get it because you don't want to alienate fans who, wow, this is so blurry. You don't want to.
It was like mine last week. It just would not focus.
Yeah, you just don't want to, like, I get that they don't want to alienate their fans, and the fact that they might just really like the sound that they made because it could be really good. Yeah. But also, it's always worthwhile to see bands and artists experiment with other stuff.
It's interesting because most often you see the big swing as kind of like a half swing, like they commit halfway. But this one, they definitely went for it. So
okay,
you're either gonna love it or just hate it.
But even if I do hate it, I will respect that.
Yeah. I also
either way, they tried something. It may not hit, but they tried it. They
did. They tried it. Yeah. I listened to a couple other ones. I listened to Elegant Weapons. It's the guitarist from Judas Priest, the new guy, Richie.
Oh yeah.
And it's really good. That one I would recommend. And the Foo Fighters, which was probably the best thing they've made since Wasting Light.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing because the last album of theirs that I really loved was Wasting Light, and that was like 2011.
Yeah,
I think. Mm-hmm. God, that was so long ago. But that was the last album of theirs that I really loved, and this. I don't know if I love this one as much, but it's like
that's a little unfair though.
It's their strongest album since then, and it's like a good listen throughout. Like it's classic, like. When you think of like the more acousticy, more not peaceful, but more the more melodic Foo Fighters stuff. This is like recapturing that, but in a fun and a good way. But there's also still some experimentation, like the song "Teacher."
The Teacher, yeah.
The Teacher. That's probably my favorite song on the album, and that's because it's so inventive and creative and has some it's like Foo Fighters with a little bit of prog in it, a little bit.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's what it's really good.
I honestly, Wasting Light is a tough comparison because that's actually become my favorite Foo Fighters album.
Yeah, it is unfair, but
this one's top 3 for me though. I would say that.
it's not, this is definitely one of their most important albums, just because of the the loss, like the two
Taylor
losses
Hawkins
that
and his mom. Yeah.
yeah it's the two losses that the band had and Grohl have had, and it's just good that this it, I'm trying to find the right word. It's good that it it champions the legacy of the band and those who were in it.
It's a great closing chapter for those people lost, and it's also a very new, fresh album for them.
Yes. So yes, Corinne, we both recommend it. Or Gabe and I both.
I'll have to take a listen because I hadn't taken a listen yet. And I'll have to ask I have another friend who's really into Foo Fighters. I'll see what he thinks as well, because I'm sure he's listened to it. The thing I was listening to this week that's new, that's not just like sad lesbian music.
Sad lesbian music's always great.
I know. I just really like it. It's nice to work to. But no, I listened to Sleep Token.
I need to listen. What'd you think?
Yeah. I was listening to Sleep Token. I enjoyed it. It was on a day where I was kind of struggling at work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put on Sleep Token. And I put on Sleep Token, and I'm like, yeah, this works. Yeah. It was a day I needed a little bit more pep in my step, and I'm like, well, no more sad lesbians. Time for Sleep Token.
Time for Sleep Token.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. It was good.
Did you listen to is it the new album, or was it just like a collection of songs?
I think it's a collection of songs. I think now that I've just listened to them in total, I think I'll just have to go and like album by album and compare, because it was definitely just like this is Sleep Token. I'm listening to them,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have to go back and do album by album now that I just have the basic. This is what they are. Now I need to get a little deeper, but I did enjoy it. It was a good listening day.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I've generally 3 modes at work. I'm either listening to the villain mode playlist on Spotify. And that's days where I'm really struggling to work, because like it's just a bunch of songs about like generally people like killing other people or just being really evil. Or like just these songs are just like, they're very like happy sounding songs or like melodic sounding songs. Like they're not like loud, but they're just about like being a villain. And so when I'm having trouble working, like I'm having trouble getting my brain to focus, I'm like, you're a villain, do your job and the world. And that helps for some reason.
That's for me, is that?
Yeah, and then if I'm having more of a normal day where I'm not struggling to work, where my ADD is not quite as bad, I listen to either sad lesbians or podcasts, depending on what I'm doing. Because if I'm doing something high concentration, I can't listen to podcasts because I'll just completely zone it out. But if I'm doing something more lower concentration, then I'm able to listen to podcasts. And then now I did a Sleep Token day, and instead of a day I would have listened to the villain mode playlist. So Sleep Token did pretty well for getting me motivated. Same with Shitfire. Shitfire was another one that was good at getting me motivated, because that was just like wreck the world and fucking take down capitalism and which when you're struggling to work your capitalistic day job.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. So
yeah, that was crazy amount of new albums and I think there's even more next week too, so it's new musical watch for sure.
Yeah, just I feel like when we get to this time of year, they start to release more stuff in a quicker succession.
Yeah, this is like the release portion of the year, and then there's going to be like a lull around the holidays, unless that's holiday specific music.
Yeah.
And then that lull generally holds until around February, and then in March releases start picking up again. Around the same time, people are going on tour because they want to promote the things that they're releasing.
And then there's festival season
tour and festival season. So the lull generally starts happening in like November. But like the pickup happens really like June through August. And then it starts to slow down in September. But there's usually still some releases in September and October, usually stuff that's spookier. You get some
you get some metal.
Yeah, usually you get metal.
October. Yeah.
You get metal in October. And then then you go into November and it's like Christmas.
The holiday season. Maybe we can get some new Rob Halford Christmas.
I love it.
Some new Rob Halford Christmas.
I also forgot about this one. Oh, I forgot. I can't. It's blurry.
What is that?
Ben Folds.
Oh, Ben Folds.
The new Ben Folds is it's Ben Folds. You know what you're getting.
Yes.
It's classic. He's stuck to the sound he's used to. That's one of those. But it's good.
All right. I'm gonna pivot this part of this discussion. Not necessarily to Barry yet.
You're gonna pivot your entire body and do some yoga.
Downward dog.
Do you? So who has seen Spider-Verse?
I haven't, but I'm okay with minor spoilers.
We won't spoil anything.
Okay.
I feel like we all have to be in agreement. Like,
yeah.
not agreement. We all have to have seen or do something.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to it. So hopefully thoughts are good.
Very good.
Yeah. I loved it.
It's fantastic. I know some folks are saying it's even better than the first one. It's hard for me to make that call.
Yeah, because this is part one and part two.
This is part one of part two.
Yeah.
There's a major cliffhanger. That's not really a spoiler.
No.
I mean, there's a major cliffhanger, and it ends like how the episode 9 out of episode 10 TV show would end.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's lots of things that are happening.
Yeah.
And then it ends. But it's not like other part 1 of part 2s where it's like nothing happens in the film. A lot happens in this movie.
Like a shocking amount.
Like I mean you get a lot more focus on it's still Miles Morales' show, but you get a lot more. There's a lot more focus on Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I love that so much.
Yeah, and she's great. Everyone's great, and then there's so many new Spider-Man variants of Spider-Man, Spider-Punk.
Andy Samberg plays my favorite. You know which one it is, probably, Riley.
I didn't realize. I think.
Look at my comic muscles.
Oh yeah,
that one. You'll know it when you see it. It's not a secret.
Okay. I didn't realize that was Sam.
I do love that they did decide to do a part 1 and part 2 for like a multiversal movie, because like you can fit so much more in it when it is.
They did. They went for it.
They did.
Yeah.
And it was such an interesting, thematically it was interesting too, because a lot of it was about canon. Like they even say the word, this is what canon is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think that's a very interesting discussion to have, because especially in a movie that stars, a person of color character, a female Spider-Man character, it's just like, this is what, it's like the rules of what is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's like not even like really hiding that.
No, not at all. It's very much representative forward.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's just a really deep and thoughtful take, especially, for this really silly Spider-Man movie.
I laughed harder at this than I have in a long time. It's so many, like, even sight gags where it's just like a thing happens. Like you see the Spider-Man from the video game Spider-Man is just hanging out, and you're like,
yeah.
And there's other ones that I will not spoil for you.
Yeah, there's some other great.
Well, I mean, I love the first one. So yeah, seeing Spider-Man is definitely something that I need to do. I might even maybe we'll go when I'm in Michigan. We can get the game together and go see Spider-Verse. Because I've been so busy with my 5 jobs.
That seems like you might be a little bit busy.
I've been a little bit busy.
You need to dedicate one day of the week to watching Spider-Verse.
Yes,
it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go on vacation on Wednesday. I'm leaving for Michigan on Wednesday, so I need to be ready to go to Michigan by Tuesday. And today is Sunday, and I haven't packed anything.
Oh my god.
So one day of the job, one job of the day is just gonna be packing.
Yeah.
Encouragement to watch Spider-Verse. I actually liked it better, but for one reason, not because of the story, because clearly we don't know what's gonna happen, but this felt like absolute love letter to animation in a way that I can't quite describe. It's
Yes.
everyone's
Well,
like, Feast of the Eyes is Avatar. No. Feast of the Eyes is this.
Well, and
Yes.
the first movie was another, like, it was a love letter to comics and the way comics
Mhm.
are written and how to bring a comic to the screen in a way that is like really holds on to the comic roots.
Mhm.
Because like
Yeah.
there are so many things in the original where it was like that is a comic book, you know, like the shading with the little bubbles. I can't remember what that's
Yeah,
called.
the pow.
Yeah, and like the pows and, you know, like all those things that you don't see in the rest of the ways that comics are portrayed in film. And so doesn't one still do this, or is it more just animation itself? Like, are the Spider-Men in different
I was going to ask Riley about this. I think the first one was a love letter to comics, and I think this one was a love letter to animation.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment. I still think it's also a love letter to comics, but
well, I mean, it's talking about the many universes of comics. So I feel like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it opens with a different style of art being shoved into the modern art world. So it's like, in such a cool way, you're seeing one style hammer on another, and it's like, okay, that's amazing.
yeah. There's so much creative shit in this movie, and I'm just trying to think of like, it's just the entire movie is basically like that. Like, there's always something, like the movie is baseline is visually interesting because it's like first Spider-Verse, but then there's always other animation styles, always, you know, like
every character has its own style, and they draw that character in the world together. And it's like you're watching a character on the screen where one person is doing one thing and another person's doing one thing, and they're all drawn in their own unique style.
Yes.
Everything around them is happening in their style in one world. It's just...
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
It's wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the punk rock Spider-Man, it's not a spoiler because that's a trailer. Everything he does is his own thing, and it's great.
I also, speaking of hating capitalism,
yeah,
like the movie like just makes a lot of jokes that a lot of jokes and commentary that just a lot of mainstream stuff just won't touch.
Oh, like, yeah, punk rock Spider-Man goes for it.
Punk rock Spider-Man's like sees like an interdimensional hole tearing apart, not tearing apart, but like just sucking things. It's just like, well, that's a metaphor for capitalism.
There was so many
punk rock Spider-Man. I feel like a lot of there's certain times where people forget what punk rock is about.
Yeah.
What punk is.
They also have a black pregnant woman Spider-Man, and it is like, yes, just yes. It's so good.
And she's riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, she's riding a motorcycle and still web slinging. It's it's so good.
Oh.
And the Spot is, I love the new villain. The Spot is amazing.
It might be like I'm gonna have to go when I'm in Michigan or something, because like I don't think I have the time. I've not had the time in the past, you know, since it came out. Like there's been no time, and I know there's gonna be no time in the next 2 days. But I have, you know, like a full. I'm there till next Wednesday, so you know I've got some time.
It's one of those where there's only 2 or 3 movies that might even have a chance to beat it for me for best film of the year.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. It's kind of like how I view Dune Part 1, though. Just, you know, I have to know how it ends before I can officially say that this is the best. You know,
that's how I feel too.
I have complete confidence that the team that made it will make a third act that's just as good as the first 2, but I just have to wait and see it.
Right. With that note, should we pivot to the ending of Barry?
Yes.
Okay, spoilers ahead, everybody.
Yeah, spoilers ahead. If you have not finished Barry.
First of all, what are you doing? Finish Barry.
Finish Barry. It's so good.
Yeah, Barry is amazing.
Yeah, if you've never watched Barry, go watch Barry. Stop this right now and go watch Barry. It's great.
It is funny to watch it with Ted Lasso. There's never been a greater bookend of opposites worlds than the two of them
those
together.
are very different shows. Yeah, if you like dark comedy, and it is sometimes pitch black comedy.
Oh my
It is
God, yes.
so dark.
Yes.
If you like Assassins, if you like
Critiques of Hollywood.
yeah, critiques
Oh
of
my God.
Hollywood. It's such a good show. I highly recommend it. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it right now. Stop watching us and go watch Barry, and then come back, and then we'll talk about Barry to you.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. What are you
All
doing? Watch that, then come back.
Yes.
All right. So I think they've had enough of they've had enough warning.
Spoilers have been entered.
Yeah. We are gonna talk about it right now.
Yes. Okay. So I love the ending. I love the show in general, but I completely, it was. I'm trying to think of the best way to start this, because it's like,
Well, it's one of the shows I loved, like how I felt about Game of Thrones for most of the run, not all of it, because we know, but where you
Yes.
couldn't have any clue what they were going to do. I didn't have any idea how they were going to do it or what the ending was going to be, and I still felt that way all the way to the last seconds.
yes.
Yeah, it was a show that you really couldn't predict how it was going to end. I mean, like, I had some predictions. Like, I didn't think Barry would live. I didn't think that there was an ending where he lives. But beyond that, I did not know what was going to happen. I was like, I think he's going to die, because I don't think there's any other way for this series to actually end unless Barry dies. Because we could just keep following Barry forever if he's not
Let's
dead.
not make the Dexter mistake.
Yeah,
please.
let's not make the Dexter mistake. Let's end the show. So I knew he would die. But beyond that, like, I was like, every episode I'm like, well, what's happening now?
The way they went about it, though, even still was shocking.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Even still. I'm gonna, excuse me 1 second.
On that note, while we
My Alex
distract,
is emoji.
the funniest, I mean, there's other moments, but the funniest moment of the entire series for me, now that you've all caught up, it's Fred Armisen just appearing for a brief moment. He does so little, and it's so funny. I laugh so hard. Just shaking he's shaking his finger and making faces, and Barry just casually goes, I think he's here to kill me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was amazing. I loved that scene so much, because like these just FBI agents or whoever they were just completely oblivious to this man, like right behind them. They each of them thinks like somebody's the FBI, somebody's another intelligence agency or the cops or whatever, and they both think this guy is with the other one. and
he's just casually like, that guy, he's gonna kill me. No, whatever. Please stop him.
Yeah.
I think one thing, like, I'm with you, Corinne, but it's like, I didn't know how it was going to end, like, and it like even sets up like the idea that like Barry's gonna go in and save his family a little bit, and then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
like he gets armed up. He gets armed up, like for. Like, and then he sits down on his guns, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, him walking into like the Walmart equivalent and like getting like these semi-automatic rifles and having like a pistol strapped to his thigh, and then trying to get into his car and being like.
The one thing I wished they'd done is I wish he had entered the fray and seen it all over already and been like,
yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just genius, and I was like, and it's another thing that I think that I love how a lot of the violence is shot in the series, because like I mean, there's a few parts where there's a few parts throughout the series where the action is a bit more emphasized, but like in that last scene where Fuchs and everyone just like mows each other down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like at a very flat angle.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't like have like it's like it has an absence of style, but like in that said absence of style, there was a style in and of itself where it's just like very detached, and it's also kind of funny a little bit.
Well, it's basically saying that violence is so commonplace in these people's lives that we're not even like, it's just a thing. Like, we're not focusing on it. Like, it's gonna happen.
That's how I saw it
happened. Too. It's here.
I feel like it's also a criticism of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Of filmmaking, where it's like there's so much stylistic violence in movies, and then in this case, it's like you just see a guy lobbing a grenade like from like a low angle, and it just shows the grenade like 30 yards away and just blowing the people up, and it's like a not very non-sexy explosion, very non-sexy filming.
And then like afterwards, like everybody who was in the explosion, like who survived, they're all just like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. It's like, oh God, why?
Yeah, like I can't feel my leg. Like things like that. Like it was so non-stylized. It was just like grenade.
They use violence for humor sometimes too, and that's an interesting one.
I mean, well, that was kind of funny though. It's because they lobbed the grenade, and it's like what was that?
Like the previous episode is the funniest violence thing in the whole thing is when NoHo Hank gets 3 boxes delivered to his house, and it's like, what's in this box? Head. God damn it! What's in this box? Another head.
What's in this box?
So good.
Why am I still opening boxes? And then he gets the last one, is the really hot guy, and he's like, even in death.
Yeah, even in death, it's still hot.
Well, and then there was also like the funny thing where they were trying to fire the missile at Fuchs' house. Yes. The last and misses.
He's like, "Do we have another missile?" "No, you told me to control the budget. We had 1 missile."
I mean budget on office supply.
I meant staplers.
not on missile.
No, Hank is the best.
I loved Hank so much. It was so. I knew he was like he was another character. I'm like, I don't think Hank's gonna make it.
No.
Like there's no way Hank's making it. But I was like, I'm gonna miss him when he's gone.
I actually thought Fuchs was gonna die with him. That was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I was very surprised that Fuchs lives. Because he is the only character that doesn't have like a concise wrap up. We don't know what happens to him after the shootout. Like,
it seems like on purpose too.
Yeah, like on purpose too.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Well, I think because Corinne was talking about this in our chat about how a lot of the story is about legacy, and that's kind of why Fuchs rescues the kid, is because, well, Barry was Fuchs' legacy in a way because he mentored Barry.
Right.
And then Barry is an extension of that legacy and Barry's kid is an extension of that legacy because, well, generational passing of the torch.
Yeah.
In a sense. If I can go back for 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, so I love how the ending of the show is Hollywood get the story, butchers the actual real story.
Yeah.
Which is the true crime bit. And that kind of harkens back to how the action is unsexy.
Yeah.
Because like that whole thing was filmed in a very, purposefully not like necessarily thrilling from an action sense, but interesting in a commentary sense. And like when it shows the part in the movie where Barry rescues his family, that actually is very sexy and very, it's like
filmed like an action movie, whereas like basically all the other action that occurs in Barry, especially in this last episode, really isn't filmed like an action movie. It's filmed like
a drama.
Yeah, like a drama. And then we see the action version of
you see the Fast and the Furious version of it.
In that fake movie. And I really love that contrast and how, it played up on all the tropes that you think would have happened if the show were anything but Barry,
Yeah.
And, because he goes to save his family and it's this big heroic rescue and
he kills a bunch of dudes.
He kills a bunch of dudes. And he's like, stay behind me. And, and then he gets to his final showdown and it's super dramatic between him and Jean. And then, he gets shot 3 times in the chest and it's like, oh, it's all slow motion.
Yeah, he just keeps shooting him.
He just keeps shooting him. Instead of the very like a shot you hear from outside the room, Barry looks down, one bullet hole.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Oh wow!
And
shot
then
in the face.
another shot to the head.
I love how the episode is called "Oh Wow."
Oh wow! Yeah.
It's perfect ending. It's the great title for it.
Yeah, and it was just. Comparing those 2 death scenes and those 2 like the rescue scenes, I think is so stark because it's like we see them back to back essentially. A lot of the rest of the movie was stuff harking back way to the beginning of the show, where you don't quite remember it as well, but
Well, Barry didn't make that monologue. That do that monologue, but that God, the Sound and Fury monologue. From Macbeth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that was Sally's thing. She was making that thing, and Barry was just the guy going, "My lord, the queen is dead."
Well, that was the fact that Sally was shown as being like enamored with him when like she wanted nothing to do with him for so long. She was just like,
they romanticized it up like they do.
Yeah, because Sally was not interested for such a long time.
It's funny. I've changed my mind. I think we talked about this a little bit where I said I thought that the Fuchs character was the most interesting, but I've definitely thought of Sally as the most interesting character.
I think Sally does. I think both Fuchs and Sally do like a very about face in a way. Like, they come to terms. They're like, as we stated in our chat, like they both come to terms with their problems as people in these last couple episodes, or like they're honest with themselves in a way most of the other characters aren't. And like Sally admits she's not a good mom, she's not a good person, which we all knew she was neither of those things, but she was not talking about it.
No. Fuchs finally does the same thing. He's basically the shootout starts because NoHo Hank cannot do what Fuchs does. He's like, this is what's really happening. I sucked forever and I still do. What about you? He's like, nope.
Like Hank refused to accept that he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy, but he refused to accept it. Whereas Fuchs is like, no, I'm a bad guy. I have no heart, and I can do these things because my own safety matters more than anything else, and that's why I do these things.
The fact he's like, I'll leave if you can admit the same, and Hank's like, I know.
Because Hank wanted to be a hero. And I think very much that was his relationship with Barry as well. Like, Hank looked up to Barry so much because he saw Barry as a hero. He saw Barry as someone to aspire to because...
he definitely wants to be Barry.
He wants to be Barry, whereas Barry wants to be everything but Barry. And he's constantly running away from who he is and what he does. And that's what kind of where we get back to legacy. Like, the entire show, in my opinion, is about a lot of things, but one of the major things is legacy, what you leave behind, who you leave behind, how people remember you. Because Barry starts the show as a depressed, unhappy assassin who...
He has career burnout.
He has career burnout, and he goes and he goes to LA to perform this hit, and then he finds acting, and he's like, this is how I can change my life. This is how I can be known for something else. I can do something else. I don't need to be this. I can change my legacy. And he does. By the end of the show, he dies. The only way to really change his legacy was to die. But that movie being made, that turned him into a hero, as untrue as it was, changed his legacy, and having a son, which he never would have done if he hadn't met Sally. And like his son watching that movie and seeing his dad as a hero.
That was interesting too, because the mom refused to let him watch it. She knows the real deal.
She didn't want him to see it because she didn't want to glorify Barry. But
on the other hand, though, I think I think the son kind of knows that it's BS too, though.
Oh yeah,
because Sally did the whole "we're murderers" thing, and the son was there when the whole action scene happened. And it was nothing like how it was in the movie.
I think that he knows. Like, I think he knows deep down that obviously that's not what happened. He was there, but at the same time, seeing a Hollywood movie portraying your dad as this great hero, like, for any like kid of that age, like a teenager, knowing that that's how the world views your dad, I feel like that's certainly like,
it gave him a little bit of a blanket of comfort over his trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Because after he sees the ending where it says that Gene went to prison for life for the deaths of Barry and Janice, and that Barry was laid to rest in Arlington, I believe, with full honors, like he smiled, and I was like,
yeah.
It was definitely a comfort to him. Like maybe he didn't truly, like, I think deep down he knows his dad wasn't a hero, but he saw that the rest of the world was viewing his dad as a hero. And I think since legacy was so important, and for Fuchs, for instance, like Fuchs was the one who turned Barry into this hitman. He's the one who passed that, like, created Barry, took advantage of Barry to do this. And then Fuchs saved Barry's son because he realized, I think, that what he had done to Barry was wrong. Even if he didn't, he knew he couldn't fix Barry, but he could save his son. He could save his legacy and give this kid a chance to, have a normal life. And, instead of just dying in a shootout that was only happened because, of Fuchs.
Fuchs causes basically all of his own.
Yeah, Fuchs causes all the problems Barry doesn't cause himself are caused by Fuchs.
Yes.
Barry causes a lot of his own problems, but the rest are caused by Fuchs.
I absolutely love. He's my favorite character after the time jump. Like what they've done with him is so good. The
fact that he turns into such a badass.
The acting is so good because it's also funny. Like he's actually a badass, but it's just still hilarious.
Yeah.
So the next time,
we know where he came from. Like we know who he was before. He was the Raven, but he wasn't the Raven, and now he is the Raven.
Yeah, like the discussion that his goons are having about how to keep them away from the violence. To be like, we take them out for a nice dinner, we kill people, then they come back.
we get some soundproof headphones.
It's like every idea is being actually considered.
Sneak attack.
Yeah.
I think there's still be time if there's a sneak attack.
So the ending for me, like, I loved it, but it's also there's this there's the good things and the bad things, because not necessarily bad for the show, but like more the moral, I guess. What I'm thinking is sorry, I'm not making much sense. What I'm kind of thinking is that it was good. The ending was good for Barry's kid and like the legacy that Barry had or wanted to have. But it also kind of one of the things that I really gravitated to throughout the show was the fact that Barry was always lying to himself, because like he didn't want to be an actor, or he didn't want to stop being a hitman because he all of a sudden viewed killing as wrong, or that it was bad. He just did it because he was tired of it, and he was like he had a career burnout. When it came to killing people, he had a career burnout. And so
Barry was never opposed to killing, which becomes super apparent even after he's become a born-again Christian, and it becomes necessary to kill Gene, and he's just trying to find the right pastor podcast
to justify his murder.
He
finds it, he's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rockford Ice Hogs guy.
Yeah. Which was so funny to me. Like him just listing different ones and being like, okay, nope, new one. Yeah. Okay, nope.
And then like throughout the show, it's like, Barry doesn't technically deserve to get away with it.
No,
of course not.
And so that's kind of why it was like so interesting that in a way he kind of like, because he kind of does get away with it, even though he dies. He
totally gets away with it, though.
Yeah, he gets away with it. It gets blamed. I mean, not everything. His full track record doesn't get released. His the two crimes from the show directly, like the ones that it's mainly about, like the Janice's killing. And
the killing of his friend from acting class.
And the killing from his friend from acting class. Like, they both get tied to Gene instead. And then he dies and is memorialized like as a hero with that movie. Like, he totally gets away with it. He didn't deserve to get away with it. But like, that's where it definitely brings in the kind of one of the other messages of the story is how much Hollywood and true crime can get a story wrong.
That's my favorite takeaway, honestly.
Yeah.
Because they don't do very many commentaries on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. because a lot of the commentaries are the true crime itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's a lot more sexy than the actual, story that they.
I mean, all you have to
the
see
real
is
story.
who they cast to play serial killers will tell you everything you need to know
Yeah.
about how Hollywood views true crime.
Exactly. They're always
okay,
super
Zac
fucking
Efron.
hot.
Zac Efron is Ted Bundy. Like, seriously?
Yeah,
We don't need
Ted
this.
Bundy was not that hot. He was just a slightly charming white guy. You know, like he
Slightly
wasn't that
charming
smart
white guy
either.
was not that. We went from a slightly charming white guy to the slightly charming king of white guys. Like,
Yeah, like you could have chosen literally any nobody to play Ted Bundy and it would have been more accurate.
yeah, I was gonna say I could have done it. It's like,
yeah,
I'm a normal white guy. That's what he was.
Yeah,
Comb
he
your
was
hair
just
in
a
a different
normal white
direction
guy.
at one point.
Well, and I think that criticism, like the criticism of true crime, and that allows Barry to essentially get away with it, even though he doesn't deserve to, makes the whole thing work.
Yeah,
just because, like, I feel like if there is a way that can be good and true to the story, and like it's the themes of how the series has portrayed Barry as someone who doesn't get away with it. Well, he gets away with it because we're criticizing this other aspect of the entertainment industry, which is very befitting because it's there's so many critiques of Hollywood in the show already.
Yeah.
And that just makes the whole thing come together in like a really cohesive and satisfying finale, even though it's I know some people would have preferred other things.
I love that though. I feel like this is one of those. Well, we look at the perfect endings in TV series. You look at like Breaking Bad. You look at like The Good Place, or all these ones with like a 10 out of 10 ending. I love that this show didn't get a 10 out of 10 ending because I don't think it needs it, and I think that was the point.
Well, I feel like it is a 10 out of 10 ending in the sense that
for what it is, but you know what I mean.
But yeah. Well, and it's kind of the one thing that I think the show does better than Breaking Bad. There's a few things I think it does better than Breaking Bad, but the thing is, it makes it abundantly clear that Barry is a bad guy. Whereas, where like even like the basest person who doesn't do any form of media criticism can go, Barry is kind of a bad guy. Hell, the main in the second season, like Barry asks NoHo Hank whether he asks him, am I a bad guy? And he's like, Barry, you're the most evil person I know.
Yeah. And it's so funny that Hank aspires to that.
Because Hank wants to be the most evil guy ever.
Yeah. I think the ending really, because the story of Barry, Barry himself, is he wanted to change who he was. Who he was a bad guy. He was a bad person. He was a murderer who had no problem murdering people. He was that way in a lot of ways because of the tutelage of Fuchs. But he already, he had made a major mistake and gotten away with it. A mistake that left someone dead who didn't deserve it. And that's his origin,
Yeah.
And instead of getting punished for his crime, he got off. And he continued, he does it again. He doesn't get punished for his crime. He dies, but he gets away with it again. However, he is able to change his story, which is
I think that's it. Yeah.
He was able to change his story, and that's how he succeeds. However, at the same time, we have the commentary and the critique on true crime and how Hollywood fictionalizes things, which makes it so Barry changed his story and he got what he wanted. But it's not because he's a good guy. It's because Hollywood is shitty at telling stories.
That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
You want this certain ending in your head, or some people did, and then this is the ending you actually get because it's not what Hollywood would give it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's the ending of what might actually happen.
Yeah. So we see what really happens to Barry, and we understand, he was a bad guy. He deserved to pay for his crimes or die or, but then Hollywood does this with it, makes him a hero. And Barry gets his happy ending, but it's not because of anything he did necessarily.
Right. That's a perfect way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. He gets
nothing
happy
to do
ending.
with him.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with him. He didn't deserve it. He didn't change himself. He never changed himself. He was always lying to himself. But he did change his legacy.
Yeah, he didn't change anything, really.
Yeah, no, he was still the same guy he was in the beginning. He was just...
In fact, he didn't even when he finally was like said I'll go turn myself in.
Yeah.
It wasn't even due to the fact that he, even viewed his killing as wrong necessarily. He was trying to protect Jean.
Yeah.
Which is tragically ironic because then Jean kills him.
Yeah.
And
he never viewed killing as wrong. Like he didn't believe in his circumstance he should go to jail for what he did ever at any point. He thought that essentially all of his killings were valid because those people deserved it. He found ways to rationalize every murder that was committed. And then he doubled down on those. And the thing that mattered more to Barry was the people that he cared about or idolized. So, he turned himself in because Jean was going to get blamed, or he was going to turn himself in because Jean was going to get blamed, and he hero worshiped Jean,
Yeah.
And the same way NoHo Hank worshipped Barry. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. This show is a lot about hero worship and how your heroes are inherently flawed.
That's the thing about it that's fun too, is the other side is the hero worship aspect is like Barry. I love how Barry doesn't give a shit about Fuchs unless he has no one else, and then he's like, "Oh, Fuchs, I love you."
Yeah, like he immediately switches to hero worshiping Fuchs when Jean is not there, because Fuchs was his original hero that he worshipped. The person
he
who
doesn't
let
really care about Fuchs unless he's completely alone, and then he realizes I hate myself.
Yeah, like Barry wanted somebody so badly to look up to. And that was his entire downfall. That's why he got into the situation of being a hitman, is because he wanted somebody to tell him what to do. He wanted a framework. He wanted the framework of the military back. He wanted somebody to report to. And somebody to place the guilt of his actions in their hands instead of his own. Because it worked for him the first time, like he killed a guy he shouldn't have, and he got away with it because of the military.
And that framed his entire future, basically.
Yeah. As long as he wasn't killing it because of some decision he made, or as long as he could blame it on something else, killing was fine. If he was killing to protect someone, if he was killing for somebody else, if he was killing, because Fuchs trained him to kill, because Fuchs said, like, hey, I'm hiring you, you're my guy to do these jobs, It was always, the guilt wasn't on him.
I love this, though. It's such a... Most shows, when they end, don't have a... Like, I'll ask Riley. At the end of Ted Lasso, do you think we'd have a discussion for an hour about it?
No.
That's what
I mean, the thing about Ted Lasso is that it is very wholesome. It's just a very wholesome show. And that's... And that's kind of...
That's the point, though.
That's the point. I mean, I know some people were like really like started to criticize the show for being, for being like the third season for being too late, and there are some criticisms to be had, but it's like this is
what you're getting. It's what this
is fluffy wholesomeness.
Yeah, I watch Ted Lasso when I'm sad. I mean, like, if you want to be cheered up, watch Ted Lasso. If you want a commentary on the media and on the military and on our own personal failings, on how we view ourselves and how we want to be viewed as a hero, watch Barry. You'll also laugh a lot, but exactly. It's not a light laugh. It's a, oh God,
everything's terrible.
Yeah, everything's terrible, but that was funny.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ted Lasso is one of those like, oh, that was a humorous thing to happen, and Barry, it's more like, oh my God, I hate everything.
But it's so funny.
Yeah, I hate everything, but that was hilarious. I do have to say, I really loved Hank and I can't think of his name. Hank's boyfriend.
Cristobal?
Oh, Cristobal.
Yeah, Cristobal. Hank and Cristobal, like, pitching their plan in a Dave and Buster's.
My favorite scene of the entire series.
It's so good.
It's so good. Oh,
I love that so much. Like, the way that they were, like, walking around while they did it, like, it was filmed like this was, like, an MLM, like, promo video. Like, it was so good. Like, I love
They
that.
were literally trying to sell you on Herbalife. It was so good.
Yeah, like, oh, I love that so much. It was such
Oh.
a good scene. And then they're like on the stage, and then Hank drops and we're gonna break this guy out of prison. And Christabel's like, I'm sorry.
Can we hold on? Mike,
Hold on.
no.
Time out. Just give me a second here.
Yeah.
And I love how the police later tried to raid Dave and Buster.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of normal Dave and Busters.
Oh God, that was the best callback joke ever. We just went there. There was no one there.
Oh, they're just like brutally beating patrons. And
Oh God.
Dead it.
I cannot wait for what Bill Hader will do next. I think he's gonna be a Jordan Peele type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope we get something really great after Barry, because I mean Barry was really great, and I'd like to see. Yeah, I'd like to see more of this, but not the same thing, obviously. But you know,
I think he's gonna do movies like Jordan Peele does and have his own style, kind of going forward.
Yeah. I just, I think Barry was. Barry is a show that a friend recommended to me, and I'm so glad he did. He was like, "You're gonna love this. You need to watch this." And
yeah, I think same thing. Riley recommended it to me.
Yeah, and it was like I like binge watched the first season. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. He's like, I told you would love it. I'm like, you're right, Michael. You're right. I do love it.
Oh my God.
And I think, I don't know, I think that's the important thing about Barry. The thing that made me like it so much was that Barry is never a good guy. You want him to be a good guy as you're watching it. Like, you want him to better himself, but he never does. And he's never actually glorified in anything he does.
No.
You get to the end and you see Hollywood's interpretation. You see that glorification, but it's not what really happened.
But it's not how the show but the show itself does not.
Yeah, the show doesn't glorify anything he does. He is constantly feeling the ramifications of his own poor choices. And having his own poor choices come back and kick him in the dick.
And how he tries to self-justify everything he does, even without ever taking responsibility for his own actions.
Yeah, even once he is a born-again Christian, like, trying to find the pastor that will glorify his actions, that will allow his actions.
And it was the Rockford Ice Hog.
Yeah, once again, he's just looking for somebody to pass that guilt on, to say they said it's okay, like, it is even after all that, even after all those years of bettering himself, of becoming a better person, of being a good dad.
That's the point, though. Like, so many of us do this exact shit every day. Like, justifications for my terrible actions. Yes, I got it. Yeah, we all justify the bad things we do because we want to be the hero in our own story. And I think that's what Barry was about, was we all do that, and we can better ourselves, or we cannot, and hope that we can still change our legacy to view us positively, which Barry did. That's the sales pitch for Barry is like, what if we do the human thing where we always justify our actions, except the person doing it is the worst person on the planet? To the extreme. A serial murderer who does not give a shit if he kills people. Who killing people is incredibly easy for him. He is very good at it.
Yes.
Like, what if John Wick was not, like, killing
John Wick, killed whoever he felt like.
Just anybody. Not criminals, specifically. Like, what if all these action heroes weren't killing criminals? They were just killing just normal people. Like, sometimes it's criminals, sometimes
there are no do-overs.
Like watching the Fast and Furious and be like, that guy died. Oh, that kid just killed a bunch of people and they're cheering him on. Okay. It's like making you come to terms with all the death that these heroes do, without glorifying it at all, and be like, no, it's bad. But it's bad though. So I think overall we would all say this is A, definitely recommended, and B, just perfect TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's like perfect just because it's simultaneously just entertaining, like really entertaining to watch, because it's so funny, and it's the drama itself is acted well, but it's also just offers so much for anyone to sink their teeth into in terms of thematic storytelling, just because of all the critiques against Hollywood, the critiques against true crime, as well as like the critiques of the personal level of how we, try to justify our own actions, even if they can be unjustified, and how people can lie to themselves and even still lie to themselves, and how all those themes actually just really just mesh well together in just a really satisfying,
the
overall.
story really comes together in a really good way. It's able to end in a satisfying manner without compromising what it was trying to tell us.
And it does all that without actually being predictable, which is even better.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing I knew is that Barry would die. I was like, the show cannot end unless Barry dies. Like, that's it. If he doesn't die, the show will go on forever.
But even that was a left-hand turn the way it's happened.
Yeah, it happened. I didn't expect Gene to be the one to kill him, but it was so very fitting. It was fitting that Gene was the one who killed him. But I did not expect Gene to be the one to kill him. I thought, he would either, but in a way they were making it, he died in the least heroic way possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting in a chair.
This show will be a Breaking Bad level. This will be a Breaking Bad level legacy show in a few years.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. I mean, obviously, going in, it's a dark comedy. It's a pitch black comedy at times. It can be very funny.
It can be bleak too.
It can be literally.
It's simultaneously funny and bleak. Like the whole movie at the end is simultaneously like hilarious, but also like, oh my god.
Yeah. Because the real story.
No, you know what actually happened, and it was not that.
Yeah, but it's so funny.
Stay behind me,
also
kids.
Horrible.
Oh god, yeah, it's the bleakest show at all, and the fourth season is by far the bleakest one.
Oh yeah, fourth season is so bleak, and yet we have Dave and Buster's MLM, like
you've got that. You've got Fred Armisen. There's moments.
It's definitely one of those shows where I know, like, for instance, Bevan, he only watched some of it because, like, it really depressed him because, like, I'm a fan of black comedy. Like, I enjoy that kind of shit. But if you're not a fan of black comedy, it's going to be a hard watch. Maybe watch in small doses. I still recommend it because I still think it's a very good show. But, like, especially as the show goes on, it gets a lot bleaker.
I would say if you like it, watch it. But if you're not a fan, I would still recommend it. Just don't binge it.
Yeah, don't binge it. Take it in small doses because it gets very bleak at times, and the earlier seasons are more palatable, but like it's still like bleak as shit when you really think about it. Yeah.
Once you get to season 3, it gets a bit bleaker, and then season 4 gets really bleak.
Yeah. Season 3 and 4, shit gets serious. And it's still funny, but it's definitely a harder watch. Because if you're not in the right mindset, like it is like, oh my god, okay, that was funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still laughing at how Stephen Root plays Gene Cousineau in the fake movie. I'm Gene Cousineau.
Yeah.
Like just like all villainy and like
like a villain straight from the beginning, and it's like.
Stephen Root is my favorite performer in the whole series. He's so good.
It was just like, I don't know. I really love this, and I'm so glad it got recommended to me, and it's one of those shows that I'm going to recommend to people for years to come. Like, have you seen Barry? You need to watch Barry. Like, anyone who enjoys my type of media, like Barry. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I think we've completely covered it. But
yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I feel good. I feel like we have spoken our piece.
Yes.
I'm kind of glad we saved Ted Lasso because there was a lot more to discuss about Barry anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do Ted Lasso in 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I'll probably have time to be like, hey, Michael, put this on your Plex server for me.
Put the thing on the thing.
Put the thing on the thing so I can watch it because I don't have that service. Thanks.
We can also do the Flash if we want. We'll see. We'll float that out there if anyone's interested in the Flash.
A part of me doesn't want to. I mean, I've heard it's technically on a filmmaking level, it's good.
Yeah.
I get it. It's
but it's also
don't
Giving
want
money
to
to
support
Ezra
giving
Miller.
money to Ezra Miller.
I know.
They
Yeah.
have done so many shitty things that I don't understand how they are still in this movie.
I know.
And-
I'll give you
and-
the reason. The movie is good. That's the only reason.
They have minimal good DC movies at the Warner Brothers machine. And
Yeah.
they probably need this
Oh my
whole thing
God.
to reset their timeline.
I watched this happen so much. I was like, oh, here's what happened. They watched the first cut of the movie and they're like, wait, what was crimes again? Tell me one more time. Maybe we can spin this.
Yeah, like I just and see, I'm not big on the DCEU. Like I generally
Oh, I'm not either.
dislike
But
most of the movies. I liked Suicide Squad, the second one.
James Gunn,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, the James Gunn one. I liked Birds of Prey. I thought it was fun.
It was.
I like
Peacemaker's great.
yeah, Peacemaker's
James
great.
Gunn.
I love
Because
Peacemaker.
James Gunn.
Yeah, because
James
James Gunn. But like anything that isn't like those, I'm like, I don't give a single shit. I haven't watched the new Batman. I probably should. I hear that's good.
It's good.
But
It's good.
yeah.
I thought the first Shazam movie was one of the best things.
Shazam was good. It was a lot
Shazam
of fun.
rules. The
Shazam
first
2 is, I don't know.
Shazam 2 is kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Shazam 1. It was good. It was fun. I think the biggest problem DC has with itself is that it forgets that comic movies are supposed to be fun. Like they can be serious and cover serious topics and even, be dramatic, but they should also be fun to watch.
That's why I'm happy that James Gunn is going to steer the ship.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it'll do better in James Gunn's hands. He knows what a fun movie is, and I commend him for that. I just wish they hadn't proceeded with the Flash because
problems.
cast Ezra Miller.
Yeah, they have been in the news for the wrong reasons for so long.
It's really unforgivable the amount of things they did, and yet
it's a parody of itself at this point.
And yet,
This movie is happening.
and that they still want them.
I know.
potentially
yeah.
for a sequel.
Well,
Like,
yeah, they
I mean,
said
like,
that Ezra Miller is the only person who can play the Flash, and I'm like, no.
Oh, they've said worse than that. They said when you watch this movie, you'll forget their crimes. I'm like, oh no, you didn't.
No,
just say that.
I won't.
No, I won't.
You can't just say the movie's so good, crime didn't
I
happen.
mean, I can. A part of me can understand why. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it. I understand why they're making, like, they're still releasing the Flash as it is because it's good, and also because it's probably resets the whole DC
It's the reset switch.
Yeah, like they needed to release the movie, and like the movie had essentially already been filmed, but
you can still recast the Flash, or you can just have like, hey, this is the Flash from another dimension that's now living in this one's dimension,
Or at
and the other
bare minimum, just say we don't condone the actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Ezra Miller did bad things. We're sorry. Not you'll forget the crimes when you watch the movie.
Yeah, they could have released it and said like, hey, we know Ezra did a lot of bad things, very bad things, and this
has been fired after this movie.
Yeah,
so they could have just done that.
We were just already done with this movie, and we're gonna release it, but they're fired.
We couldn't refilm it because it would cost us billions. You could have said that.
Yeah, they could have said that, and it would have been
so many other ways that would have been better.
There are much other better ways that they didn't do any of.
What was it called? Army of the Dead. Where they replaced what's his face with Tig Notaro.
And it was better.
It's better. I loved it. It was so funny. Like sometimes you could really tell that Tig Notaro was not in that scene interacting with other actors, but it was just so 100%. Funny because of it. Like there would be scenes, and I'm like,
you weren't on set for this at all.
Not here. And it was great. It was amazing. That movie was better for the fact that Tig Notaro was in it. Like it was because they did that. I watched that movie. I probably wouldn't have with the original. Like if they had kept the original dude, Chris D'Elia.
On a lot of levels.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
We'll table the Flash recommendation then. We'll save that one because I agree. Giving them money is probably not the best move.
Yeah, but yeah, like if Army of the Dead had kept Chris D'Elia, I wouldn't have watched it. But when they screened in Tig Notaro, I was like,
that was the right move.
Yeah, it was the right move.
I might watch The Flash just so I can talk about it, because I feel like I kind of.
It's a tough one because you want to give money to other people.
Yeah.
It's not just Ezra's film. Like so many people made this.
I mean, I might watch it just because I feel like I need to watch it to understand like how it's like
Yeah.
why they're releasing it and like what it means to the broader context of what they're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah,
build.
I'm kind of.
I will not be happy about it.
I
Yeah.
promise not to smile, not once.
Even when Michael Keaton's there.
Oh, but that's a hard promise.
I am so upset that Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, like,
Is in this movie.
in this movie, because like that would be one of the things. Like, I would have gone to see a DCU movie in theaters for Michael Keaton, but it's also the Ezra Miller movie, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's
why
the
did you put
crossroads.
these two things together?
Or to quote several characters from Ted Lasso, fuck me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just, it's.
Sorry
even
about that butchered accent.
Oh, it's all right. Even if they had just approached it in a different way, like you said, Gabe, like if they had been like, Ezra's in this movie, it would have cost too much to refilm it or CGI somebody else in. Like we were at the point where we couldn't fix it. They're fired after this. Like they're done.
I want to see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, and like not have Ezra in any promotional materials, not have like any like promo interviews, just be like, yes, they're in this.
They should still do that.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine the questions?
Yeah, like if there's
What can we ask? What can we ask Ezra? Oh, not that. Oh, definitely not that. Oh, really not that.
What I wish they would do is they would have a Star Wars text crawl before the movie that just says, "We are so sorry that Ezra Miller." We
apologize for Ezra Miller existing in this film.
With the swelling John Williams score.
Yeah.
Oh.
That would be great. Like I would be like, all right, okay, yeah, you're talking about it, coming to terms with it, and being like, yeah, we're sorry, instead of just being like, no, this movie's so good that you'll forget, and like, no,
you'll forget all the crimes of Grindelwald.
That's a line straight out of Barry. That line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is such a line straight out of Barry, and it's like, you can forgive someone their crimes if their crimes didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Yeah, that's not the case here.
People, like, if this was like a drug crime or like a driving under the influence where no one was hurt, or like there's so many crimes that like just like a theft, like.
Yeah, this is not that. This is not that at all.
Not that. It is not. It was a crime spree and.
Straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5.
And, like, it was a whole slew of things. Like, it was harmful to other people. One of them, I believe, a minor.
Yep.
Like, it is not cool to just forget about that. Like, there are certain crimes, yeah, you can forget about them. You can forgive them. Like, Robert Downey Jr. did lots of pretty criminal things, but we forgive him because none of them hurt anybody else. Like,
or if they did, I mean, he was on drugs and he's changed himself.
And he's changed himself. Like,
yeah.
he got better. He went to jail.
Like, we encourage rehab. This is different.
Yeah, like he went to jail. He went to rehab. He changed himself. We can forgive his crimes. And none of his crimes hurt anybody. They could have hurt somebody. Like he was driving while incredibly high, but like nobody got hurt. And also he'd served his time and went to rehab and is fine now, But this is not that.
Well, let's stick to Ted Lasso for 2 weeks from now then. That's a better move.
Yeah.
Let's do wholesome instead of this whole bag of, well, I don't know what to call it. Bag of problems.
Well, it's entertaining at least.
I mean, it's very entertaining.
It is entertaining us talking about this situation. Yeah, like...
For the wrong reasons, though.
Yeah.
The wrong reasons.
They did them releasing the movie like they did. All the wrong reasons. The reason...
There's, at one point during this, Ezra Miller was in the news for for assaulting someone, and was assaulting someone while that thing was running in the background behind Ezra Miller. I'm like, you literally assaulted someone while they talked about you assaulting someone? I can't even... Exhibit is up in here looking for cars and cars.
Yeah. Yeah, like I just the crimes of Ezra Miller are uncountable.
Ezra Miller.
Like
you gotta stop there. That's the ending quote. Crimes of Ezra Miller, the movie.
Maybe we should get Stephen Root to play them in the movie.
Yes.
Just so
Stephen
we
Root.
can do
Stephen Root should play everybody, honestly. I'd watch an all Stephen Root movie.
It's all Stephen Root, and it's the crimes of Ezra Miller. Everyone's played by Stephen Root.
All right, I'm gonna wrap it up there because I think we.
What else can we talk about after that?
Nothing. So thank you all for watching till the end, and I'm glad that you have enjoyed the show. I think.
We hope.
We hope.
So this was the Biological Riley Pod YouTube thingy majiggy. And just one last time, I want to say thank you for Corinne and Gabe for stopping by. And was there anything you all wanted to plug at the very end?
Corinne?
I've always got things to plug because I have 5 jobs, remember? At the very end, I'll plug my podcast, Wham, Bam, Thank You, Ma'am. If you're interested in romance novels or literary criticism or hearing me read smut aloud, please check us out. It does not faze me at all. I just do it. And while my 2 co-hosts are like giggling and making lewd faces, it is a lot of fun. We just released our 3rd episode, which is Heartbreak Incorporated by Alex DeCampi. It's a paranormal romance. It's a mystery. It's a thriller. It's a critique on capitalism.
I need to read this. I really do. It's right. Everything I like.
Yeah. And it is also a case of a discussion of, is it all right to kill bad people?
Hey,
very relevant to Barry, like what justifies murder, you know? And also a romance somehow. It's all those things. It's multifaceted. It's a great book. I really recommend it. I recommend listening to our podcast because it's a lot of fun and I enjoy making it and I hope to continue making it for a long time. So, eating my own hair. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, with commas and punctuation and exclamation point at the end. On any pod platform you can think of. If you find one that's not on, tell me and I'll put it there. And then finally in June, June 10th, please come to the Pride charity stream, supporting the GR Trans Foundation. Great prizes, great fun. You get to fuck with us with your donations as well. I'm sure you'll make us do terrible, horrible things.
I might tune in just to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's half the fun is the awful things the audience makes us do to ourselves. I know one of the incentives is, I don't know if you're familiar with the banana crunch, eating a banana with the peel on.
Oh,
fighting. That is something you can make us do. I've done it in previous charity streams. Brutal. I will do it again. I will crunch a banana if you donate. So, and there's
how does it taste?
It as long as you've washed your banana first, not bad. If you don't wash it, very bitter. One person forgot to wash the banana and it was like, this is so bitter. And I'm like, you didn't wash it. Like, wash the outside of the banana. It just tastes like a crunchy banana. And very fibrous. You're gonna sit in your fiber.
Not appealing at all.
Yeah, appealing. Yeah, so you can make many of us crunch a banana. You can, you can add baubles to people's beards for those who are bearded. You can make our weird soda beer pong harder. You can, I'm just checking out things you can do. You can turn the lights off. Whatever we're doing, we're suddenly completely in the dark. There's an entire segment where we're making, Autumn, one of the other co-hosts, he is making sandwiches, and you can add ingredients to his sandwich. And obviously make it worse, I'm sure. You're not going to be nice about it. And then someone's going to have to eat that sandwich. So, it's just going to be a good time. You get to fuck with us for a really good cause, and you can win prizes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Perfection. All right, Gabe, any updates on the dog and the squirrel?
The only thing I would like to promote today is it is actually my dog's birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Gizmo!
That's my power going out during a dog's birthday party yesterday.
Happy birthday, Gizmo! You were so great. You shut down the power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, Gizmo.
That's basically it. Otherwise, check out this podcast you're watching right now. Good job.
Continue to check it out. Don't leave. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to leave because we're going to end, but
Yeah.
come back
That's
later.
basically it.
Alrighty.
Watch
with
Barry.
that- watch Barry. Yeah, watch Barry. So with that, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.